stand up and do the right thing and tell their story. I want to thank in particular Carolina and Camilla, who have been such unbelievable leaders in this movement and who have really been my personal advisors on this issue for the last 6 years. They have prompted me and encouraged me to hold forums and hearings throughout my district in Northwest Connecticut to try to raise people's passions on this issue. And it's that kind of courage that has led us to this day where I think, as Representative Himes and Senator Blumenthal rightly articulated, we believe we're closer than ever to getting this done. And this happened because of the political power that's represented in packed rooms like this all across the country. That's why things happen in Washington, because representatives start to fear what will happen if they don't act. And they now know the political power that comes with this community. And you should be congratulated for getting us to the point where this is very realistic. Let me give you 3 numbers about why I care so much about the DREAM Act. Now, 65,000, 1 million, and 2.2 billion. 65,000 is the number of students who will graduate high school this year without documentation. 65,000 kids will graduate, many of them just like Camilla and Carolina at the top of their class, and hit a dead end. That's unconscionable. 1 million. 1 million is the number of dollars that go into the pocket of a documented graduate of high school versus an undocumented graduate of high school. That's the difference over the lifetime. If you have citizenship versus those students who are graduating today, 65,000 a year who don't have citizenship. It's $1 million difference. 2.2 billion is the additional money into the United States Treasury if we pass the DREAM Act. We should do it because it's the right thing to do for hundreds of thousands of students across this country. But it's also the financially responsible thing to do for the federal government. That's not the number that comes from some advocacy group. That's the Congressional Budget Office says that we will reduce the deficit by $2.2 billion if we pass the DREAM Act. Why? Because each dreamer will be making $1 million more over the course of their lifetime, paying taxes into the federal government and reducing the need for services because they have the benefits that come with citizenship. It just makes sense from every single perspective. I'm the youngest United States Senator. One of the few who's still paying back my student loans. and so I feel like I have a special responsibility to speak up for dreamers. And so I can't wait to take back these stories. On politics, Jim is right that you're speaking to the choir, but you still need to write us. You still need to email us. You still need to call. Why? Because when this bill comes before Congress, a lot of you are going to think, well, I don't need to reach out to Chris or Dick or Jim because we know they're in our corner. Well, at some point, there are members of the press here today, they're going to call our office and they're going to say, okay, this bill has come before you. How many people called you in favor of it and how many people called you in opposition? And if everyone in favor of the bill simply knows that we're going to be with you so you don't call, then those numbers are unrepresentative of what this state really thinks. So don't take it for granted that you have a team that's with you. Still, give us your testimony so that we can tell your stories in Washington, but so also we have a representative sample of what this state really thinks. And then lastly, on the bigger issue of comprehensive immigration reform, I'm a supporter of the DREAM Act and I'm a supporter of comprehensive immigration reform. Why? Because immigration is the source of strength of this nation. It is why we have become an economic power. And frankly, most global economists will tell you it's why we are going to continue to be a global power, because we, almost alone among nations in this world, are able, with waves of immigration, to meet growing labor demands. And we have to start getting back to the point of recognition that immigration is a strength, not something that should politically divide us. I think we are going to get a comprehensive immigration reform bill passed because Republicans and Democrats are remembering what made this country great, and they're recognizing the political power of people in this room. The last thing to say is this: be careful of half measures. because there are proposals out there that sound good, that could ultimately result in second-class citizenship for millions of people across this country. There are proposals out there to greatly expand guest worker programs. Well, that sounds better than what we have now. There's proposals from Republicans out there to say, well, we're going to give a pathway to citizenship, but it's going to be a long pathway that'll take 10 or 20 years. That'll require you to get in line behind millions of others. Be careful about proposals that essentially set up a subclass of not undocumented, but semi-documented immigrants that are going to be without legal protections for far too long. There's more goodwill out there than I've ever seen before, and it's frankly because of the great work that you've done. But let's make sure that we get the full job done, not just half of the job done. Don't settle for half measures. Continue to grow your organization. Continue to talk to us, even as you go out and talk to others that might be a little bit more on the fence than those of us who are 100% committed to it. And pat yourselves on the back for getting as far as we have. I think we can do something great, whether it's the DREAM Act, whether it's comprehensive immigration reform, and it's in large part because of the courage that you have all shown. Thank you very much.